Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Love is Blind. I don't know how many episodes we're doing yet. We'll see about 2 this time around, but let's head into episode 7. So we start off with Madison and Joe. Now, if we remember, because we technically ended off the last episode with Edmund and KB, this is when we were kind of finishing up, or we left off with this fight about, how fucked up is he? Meanwhile, he just woke up from, talking some shit, you know. But she's like, or he says, I'm going back to bed then, says, you don't want to talk to me. And she's crying over the fact that he's talking shit when waking up. And he says, are you okay? Like, because I can hear you crying. She's like, then come and check on me. For what? So you guys can yell about some more about the fact that he woke up saying some shit? He's like, but I'm in bed. Okay, no, sir, get the fuck up. I'm in bed is not enough for a reason. She says, this is so embarrassing. No, you need to be a little bit embarrassed yourself because have you never seen anyone wake up, from being startled up and woken up and sometimes you just say weird shit, you know? She goes into bed and he comes out and he says, so did we get dinner yet? Wow. You got to feed your stomach. That's the most important thing. He says, I can't believe you're doing this right now. She's like, me? Yes, you, ma'am. You're fighting with him because he woke up saying some shit. This is what we're fighting about. She's like, I am not going to be told that I am doing something when all I did was check on you. No. It's like, but I was sleeping. Okay, so like, I'll go sleep in a different room then. And he says, I don't know why you are mad. I told you 6 times. Oh, no, sorry. He says, I don't know why you're mad. Because all I did was wake up and say some shit. And she's like, I told you 6 times that you freaked me out because you're saying some weird shit. Okay? Then she leaves. The next morning, we see her writing in her journal, probably saying, Dear Diary, I realized by doing a Google search, actually, we don't have our phones yet, by doing a Mexico Baja search, that apparently when one wakes up being startled awake or just wakes up because maybe they were dreaming, they sometimes may wake up and say some weird ass shit that doesn't make any sense to anybody else. But that is all. I guess I have to put the tail between my legs and apologize to this little man who prefers thin women. But that is it. That is all, dear diary. Lady Whistledown. Anyway, so she she woke up feeling sad. So that's why she started talking as Lady Whistledown. So he comes back, and apparently he's the one that got kicked out of the room for talking shit when he woke up in the morning or woke up from her waking him up. And she says, I missed you. And he says he missed her too. She says, You're still gonna we're still gonna get to know each other and what we need and like I don't know what you need besides maybe I don't know, melatonins or whatever. What will stop some weird shit you say when you wake up? But anyways, and I don't know, yeah, not know. He says, no, you probably wanted to be heard and you weren't because I was too busy talking shit when I woke up after you woke me up. And I apologize for that. Yeah. They're never gonna last. Megan and Jordan, she's emotional saying, that was a lot. And he says, was it hanging out with Nick? We don't like that. She says, I need you to be there for me. And I'm not focused on these stupid people who don't mean shit. Um, so to be that quote unquote power couple, I hate that. And then everyone was there for each other and like you weren't there for me. Do better, Jordan. Have BDE like we were talking about. That's gonna be fun. Carrie and Edmund, he says, listen, I was being selfish last night. I was being cuckoo magoo and I apologize. You said that you wanted to wait. I gotta respect that because what else are you gonna do? What? Force her? We got another problem on our hands. Like, if that's the case, you need to respect it. You need to move this on. If this works out, spoiler alert, but if this works out, you'll get your sex. It's gonna be fine. Or not. But he just wants to have that connection because he hasn't had it in a long time. So wait, can I back up a second? Grr. Is he saying that he wants to have this type of connection because he hasn't had this type of relationship in a long time? Or is he saying he hasn't gotten his dick wet in a long time? I'm very confused by what he means. It's been a long time. I'm so confused. But anyways, Annie and Nick. Not a lot to say here because I don't care. They talk the future, but she says she's not worried about the future when it comes to him because we're gonna make sure our kids are not gay. They're just gonna be sad. That's it. It's gonna be a fad, so we're gonna work through it. It's gonna be just fine. Meanwhile, honey, your husband's gonna be gay, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, the group. Let's get to the group. Madison says to the girls, so we had an issue, but we did resolve it. He's gonna stop talking shit when he gets woken up and from a sleep. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Plus, we have great sex. Once he wakes up from all talking all the shit and stuff, like it's great. Allie's waiting for an argument to happen because none has actually happened. Hold on to your butts because we haven't made it to Denver yet. And trust me, the fights will happen. KB says, we got into it because he's more concerned about the fact that everyone else is fucking, but he ain't. That's okay. Nick, or well, we're going to Nick. The disagreements are so important. So, just thought about that. Nick is like, how are you in Madison, Joe? Oh, well, I got kicked out last night. I was talking shit when she woke me up after the party, and she got mad at me for that. Like I have control over it. But anyways, I got a little wasted last night, and yeah, I think that's partially it for sure. But yeah, Jordan is like, Megan said it was a little bit annoying because you were a little bit annoying. I have to admit. He's like, I get it. I can be annoying, but she can word it better. What do you say? Like, what do you say? You can either say you were annoying, or you could say, hey, Jordan, can you shut the fuck up? You won't shut up. You're talking too much. You're talking pure nonsense. The things you say is so stupid. You don't have any common sense. Yeah. What would you like her to say? Besides, you're annoying. That's the best thing that one could say. 'Cause everything else is no good. Everything else is no good. He says I'm a little clean, but too much clean can get overwhelming for me. Oh yeah, because I think she's very, very clean and he's not as clean. Megan has not been in a relationship with someone with kids before. First time for everything. And Luca has a half sister too, so there's that. KB says, Edmund is not an alpha male. No shit. And that scares me, but why? Because he's not going to beat up some guy who comes to be like, I want you. First of all, does that happen? Are people just walking up to people in the time of Me Too and being like, hey, I want that. You're mad. No one's doing that. Anyway. Megan says Jordan's jokes can be too much because he is so damn annoying. Anyway, we're done with the group. Annie and Nikki. Or Nikki. Well, we might be Nikki. Annie and Nick. He asks her, so we got 3 weeks to the altar. Like, are you ready? And like the other guys are just not sure. And she says, honestly, don't care about the others. I know that I am there and she is sensing he is not there, but it is tense as hell. And he says, don't doubt how much I love you. Get some rest. Tomorrow's a new day. And she says, you don't get that. It's like telling me to sleep it off. And he says, I am telling you, I am here with you. And I'm trying to tell you that. I am trying to hold your hand and you won't let me. And he says, I'm just saying we are going to the real world. and I am ready for that. She says, I feel like you're not ready. No, he ain't ready, but anyways. She says, do you think you can get there in a week? He says, sure. She says, let me be clear. Like, I don't need you in my life. Like, I want you in my life. Everything every man wants to hear, by the way. Whether you were here or not, I will be fine. No, I don't need no, I don't need you. I want you in my life. And he says, okay. So why are you telling me this now? Because you are fucked and this is your comeuppance. It's like, I want you in my life. But when you say that, I feel like you are trying to like blow it up. And he says, when I am trying to be in this process and you say that it's hard, what do I do with that? And he says, let's get some sleep. And she said, okay, like do whatever you need to. And he says, why do you say that? It's the passive aggressiveness. He's like, I'm going to sleep. She's still crying. And he says, do you want to be alone or can I sleep with you? And she says, yes, like I still love you. Like you can stay here just more than you love me. And he says, I never said that. But honey, you didn't have to say that. She knows. Anyways, moving on. Joe and Madison. They're having a much better night than the night before. They're not fighting about the fact that he woke up saying some shit, but it's fine. We're now heading back to Denver, y'all. It's time. We're heading to Denver. Y'all, am I crazy? I actually wrote, am I crazy? The same apartment from Maps. It's not. Edmund, why do you stuff yourself into a closet, my guy? Why would you do that? This is what I mean. Anyways, Ellie and Anton are people gazing. It's fine. That was actually really funny. So now back to the couples, Jordan and Megan. They will go house shopping because tis the time. If you're getting married, you might need another house. She's getting nervous about meeting Luca's mom because that's going to be the first step. He basically said, she needs to be part of this journey. You guys need to meet before you can meet Luca. She says, I'm not worried about loving Luca, but she is like, when do I meet him? And Skylar, which is like the mom. And he says, I want to make her comfortable. And she's feeling very overwhelmed. She wants to give him something, give Luca something. It's her love language. Gifting is her love language. And he says, definitely do that. Like, by all means, do that, but never feel you have to overdo it. He loves hugs, hand holding. He loves her time. He will remember the ice cream shop outing than any gift. And he's basically saying, like, I'd rather do that than, just be given a gift, which is interesting because she talked about the fact that she was in a relationship where my guy was, buying everything for her and all this kind of stuff. But then she's doing the exact same thing. Skylar is not my mom. I don't need her stamp of approval. She didn't get my approval when she was with Jack. I just want you, I just don't want you to be stressed. I think that's what I wrote because stress can be the number one killer. And she says, but I am stressed. What if I don't meet him for 2 weeks and then we're just getting married a week later? He says, I will work on that. If we have to do it offline, then we will do it offline. Anyways, that is basically it for episode 7. We're going to take a break here, and then when we come back, we will hop in with episode 8. Hi, everyone. So I have a new product for you to take part in. This is for J Armor wallets. Now, you can get these wallets for a pretty good price. Partially, it seems at this point, partially American made, but they're going to be planning to be completely American made by the year 2027. The fun part is that you can actually see what new wallet styles are going to be coming in 2026. So a little bit about the company. The company was founded by Jake Hernandez, who is also a part of the U.S. Air Force veteran, or he is a U.S. Air Force veteran. So with his business, he is also supporting charities like anti-child labor organizations, veteran support programs, and efforts to rebuild American manufacturing. So this is clearly something that is very important to him, and honestly, really important to me as well. And for going to the link in the show notes, which I will say what that link is in a minute, but going to the link in the show notes not only helps support this podcast, but is also helping to support Jay Armour as well as helping support the charities that he finds near and dear to him. So if you go to the show notes and you find that link, the link is jarmorwallace.com/reality times 2. So that is j-armourwallace.com/REALITEATIMESTWO. So I hope you go on and support not only me, but as well as this company. Now, that's enough of me. Let's go back to the episode. Episode 8. We start with Nick and Annie. He says, I was put off, when you were trying to say things that I didn't say. Didn't like that. She says that I'm sorry and that will never happen again. Well, spoiler alert. We're now at his place up in the mountains. He's like, I said this, that I actually like it. I actually like it. It's a cool place. He says, you can see the stars and you can see the elk just walking by my window. He has a virginity corner. I don't know why he has a virginity corner, but okay. Weird. He's like, it's just a gaming area, so then why not just call it a gaming area? Why do you have to call it virginity? You know what? She says that she needs to stay in Denver. She has her business in Denver. And he said, that's fine. I won't be selling this place anytime soon, but, we can get another place anywhere and still have this place so you can vacation to or whatever. So anyway, so that's cool. Moving on from that, let's go to Madison and Joe. So she says, I haven't had anyone meet my family before, so this is first. This is extreme. He says, well, aren't you worried that you're introducing me to your family? And she says, well, now I am. Okay. Well, I didn't see anything wrong with what he said, but it's okay. It's fine. She says, do you want me to be worried? No, he's just asking a question because this is a big freaking deal, He says, it would feel real, that you have some form of holy shit, with him meeting her family. She says, do you think I'm too sure? And I mean, I think you're too sure about him personally, but he's like, yeah, but that's probably a good thing. But this is what's going to start an argument, y'all. This whole thing was stupid because I didn't see anything wrong with what he said, but she has to constantly internalize everything. That's the problem. But I think that's also her gut telling her this isn't going to work. She says, I do have reservations. Of course I do. And I think she said sometimes you do things and I'm like, or she says you do things that I am like, am I sure? And she says, I am feeling good, but now what the fuck? Because I guess she's interpreting that she should be more negative about this whole situation. And meanwhile, he's not sure because he may not be that into you. And that's on him, mind you. Um, she's like, "Sorry that I'm, like, into you. Every time you say something, I get reservations. Sorry I'm not a negative bitch." And she's like, "I want you to be excited." He's not gonna be excited. She's, she's like, I want you to talk it out. I wanna talk it out with you. It's not the end of the world." This is what he had to say. "It's not the end of the world." Well, to her it is because I don't know. Again, this whole thing was just stupid, and I think originally blown out of proportion for something that he said that I think is totally reasonable. Um, she's like, "Well, but then why did you propose to me?" I think he proposed to you with this idea of what you were going to look like. So it's being very real. He's just he's more into thinner women, as he said, and he can't get over it. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think he's a man baby. Um, but she says like, "You're upset that I'm not upset about you." And he's like, "Well, I guess I'll just keep things to myself." Listen, man, you need to realize just because you say something does not mean we automatically, as women, are going to be okay with what you're saying. Yes, thank you for being honest with me, but it's not the your ticket out of getting into trouble. You know what I mean? Take it knowing that you may not like the response you get, but it doesn't mean you stop being honest, you know? Anyway, he says like this process is fucked. Sure it is. And she's like, "Well, you knew what you signed up for." Actually, I don't think he did. I don't think he fully understood or grasped the what this was gonna be. I don't think he did. Um, she's like, "I want a marriage-minded person." And he's like, "Am I not?" "No, no, you're not. Not right now," she says. And she's like, "Well, why am I wearing this?" But she's meaning the ring. And she's like, "Let's put this on ice." And he says, "This makes me not wanna say anything ever again. You don't get to say that. You're literally." Okay, initially, yes. This started off with her blowing this out of proportion, but towards the end of this, it's like, "No, sir, you're saying things that isn't typical to say to your fiancé. You should be more negative." You know what I mean? And she's like, "No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't push this on me. Don't flip it around on me," is what she says, and don't do that. Anyways, we moved past the argument and we are at his apartment. He apologizes for the night before, and she says, "Well, I did put my ring back on. It's pretty small. This is his apartment, not the ring." They open the freezer and it's all meat, nothing else. And she says, that's giving Dahmer." And I said, "Yuck, ma'am. There are so many things that you could have said in this moment. The first thing you seem to think of is Jeffrey fucking Dahmer, the man who put body parts into his fridge and ate it." Listen, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Um, but did you have to go there? You couldn't even say Hannibal Lecter because he's a fictional fucking character. You know, you had to say Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. Okay. Um, Moving on. We're meeting his family. It's all good. They're fine. Otherwise, let's move on. So we now have Megan and Jordan. We're at Jordan's place. We see a Rumba just rumbaing around his apartment, just doing its thing. Luca has a stuffy that was made by Skylar, who is his child's mother, her friend, who put an insulin pump on it, which is actually made me a little emotional. It's very sweet. We now have her mom and her sister. Mom's Jane and her sister Jessica. And I think her mom said, "I like your sleeves," his tattoos. So she's like, "So I heard you have a son." And Jordan's like, yeah, he's 17. Kidding. She says his son has type 1 diabetes, and that hits. It's both mom and sister, and they're like, whoa. And I don't remember talking about this in the pods. We probably did. But apparently, I think it was her sister had a dream about their dad saying that something to do with whoever, Megan was gonna end up with. So it kind of feels like that's coming true. They mentioned the fact that he has a vasectomy, and they asked, like, "Do you want, like, more kids then or no more kids then?" And he says, "No, I figured I will just get it snipped because, you know, birth control. And, when I was ready to have more kids, I'll just get it, unsnipped. No big deal." But he has their blessing, and it's all good. Let's move on to Allie and Anton. So they both work nights. He's a truck driver, she's a nurse, and she is going to be going into night 3 that night of doing like a 12-hour shift. He is making steak and eggs for breakfast, and she says that she's going to be in school full time as well as working full time. And she says when she did that last time, she lived with her parents. And she just didn't want to focus on anything, any cleaning, any cooking, anything like that. She wanted to focus on her schooling, which is totally understandable. And he says that he is okay for her to work like 2 days a week, whatever. And she says, well, it's going to be expensive. And she's like, can I still get my Botox? Ma'am, if you are in school right now and you might have to cut back on your hours, I think Botox is the last thing you need to be worrying about. Anyways, she says maybe we can have a joint account and still have our separate accounts. Why do you even have a joint account? Listen, do you? But I don't think it's necessary to have a joint account in any situation, personally. And he says, well, why would we need a joint account? See, he's on me, on my side here. Why would we need a joint account and still have separate accounts? Like, do one or the other, I guess. And she says, maybe I want you to know how much how much I don't spend on Botox. Basically, I don't want him to know how much I spend on Botox. I think he can take a guess. You know what I mean? Botox isn't cheap. But then she says that he is starting, I guess, acting weird. Like, at this point, we don't know what that means. But I think later on, we are going to figure out what that means. He says that he's just tired. He worked a long shift, no different than she did, I guess. So it is what it is. We're meeting Joe, not the JoJo, but oh Lord, not Joe of Joe and Madison, but Joe, his friend, and his girlfriend, Melissa. So Allie says she doesn't like Denver. Well, I can't speak to it, but she's only been there for work. They have actually talked about moving to Florida. So this is interesting. And I think this is going to come full circle, mind you. I'll have a lot to say because I have finished the season, but I have a lot to say. Um, so Allie and Melissa go to the bathroom and they're talking. And Melissa says that I just didn't see Anton as the marriage type. And she asked about the bachelor party. Are they going to be going to a strip club? Because they go to a strip club. I think it's anyway that they go a lot. And they love the strip clubs. And Allie says, well, he said that they are big partiers and drinking, but kind of like, or saying like Joe is like that way. Not that they're both that way. And Melissa says, well, no, they both are like that. Not as much anymore because Joe is not single. So then how do we know that Anton is still like that then? Because if his go-to buddy is your boyfriend and you're saying he is not going out as much or isn't doing that kind of thing as much because he's with you, then how can you even say that Anton is doing those things? You know what I mean? It's very weird. And she said, but this was only months ago. Because again, Melissa and Joe, this kind of comes full circle, have only been together for a few months themselves. So this is very interesting. But when she goes back to the table, Allie, she tells him, we gotta talk. You're in trouble. But we'll talk back us back at the apartment. Y'all, this is gonna come back full circle because we never see a conversation. We never hear about a conversation. Nothing is ever said again about this. And yeah, but that is it for them. So now we have KB and Edmund. So his mom is here, his bio mom. Her name is Carrie. And he says that he missed her. And he's making her breakfast, making pancakes. And she says, so why my son, KB? Why my son? What coconut fell off of the tree? And she says that he's very vulnerable, which is obviously refreshing. She says, I have a gift for you at my room. This is his mom. And they're beads. They're cultural because his family is from Ghana. And she gives them to all of her daughter-in-laws, which is very sweet. She says, you would love Ghana. You're going to come to Ghana with me one day. It's going to happen. Okay, never mind. I mean, never mind because that's never going to happen because, well, spoilers, we'll get there. So she leaves for a minute to leave him with his mom. And Mama, she says, I'm going to put things in perspective. You have been with some good girls, but I also raised good kids. So I am not going to let just anyone come in. Sorry, pause. He was in foster care, was he not? Okay, let me continue. They apparently, the family, look at her, KB's IG, and they all said, no, that's really fucked up. But anyways, she says she likes her, so that's what matters, I guess, at the end of the day. But she says, I got sister-in-laws who, like, daughter-in-laws, I should say, who talk shit. And so, we lie, and they will rat me out when I talk shit. And I can tell she won't rat me out. Don't you rat me out to my son. Don't be ratting if you're going to go and talk shit about her children to her, and then she's going to say, she's going to gas you up, you then can't go to the son and say, oh, your mother said this, this, and this about you. That's fucked up. Anyways, that is it for episode 8. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will jump in with episode 9. Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore. We're currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt ×2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/reality tea times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. And I am back. So we start off with Jordan and Megan. Not a whole lot here, but he's making this protein smoothie. Okay? But it's a big deal. He's going to add some protein powder. It's not going to be that big of a deal. No, no, wait. No protein powder, y'all. He's actually adding baked, plain ass chicken into his smoothie. That is god awful. That's disgusting. What did anybody do to deserve this? Ugh. But then they are going house shopping. It's feeling very Selling Sunset at this moment. Because this house is about $2 million. Okay. It has 6 baths, 7 bedrooms, 3 ovens. Why do you need 3 of them? The closet is absolutely huge. And he says, this house feels like too much house. Yeah, yes, it is. It very much is too much house, but hey, it is what it is. KB and Edmund. Again, not a lot here. He bought her a gift, the rollerblades, because he loves the rollerblades, so it is what it is, so they can rollerblade together. Annie and Nick. We're meeting his family. His mom, who is absolutely gorgeous, but the one who did say while watching Fox News, "Are you gay?" No, Mom, I'm just sad. But she's beautiful. Anyways, so why did you pick Nick? Well, the same things. Or saying, oh, you like the same things, I think is what said. You got a little brother. Or sorry, I'm backing up. I have to do this properly. I was getting a little confused because she's confusing. She's like, well, it's the fact that we like all the same things. We like the same things? Great. You got a little brother? Same. Great. You like luxury watches? Great. She did the same thing before when she's like, sexy. You want to grab my neck? Sexy. You want to help me clean up? Sexy. It was like that. We tell this story about him being 2 or 3 and not wanting to go inside because it was so pretty outside. He loved being outside. But his dad really likes her. She would fit right in. They tell him you need to know that you want to be in this 100%. More on that later. Group reunion, y'all. Let's get into it. This is what we're all here for. This place has a mechanical bull. That mechanical bull is going to be used by Edmund. He's going on first. And he smacks its ass when he goes on there. And you know what? He did so well. He stayed on there for so long. He says, my balls hurt. And Gaby's like, let me rub them. And he was real excited because, woof. Megan says that she met Luca's mom the other day. And it went well. They have decided they're not going to be putting Luca on camera, and that is the only way this can go, of course. Allie says, I have only met friends. I haven't met any family, but I was told that he likes to go to strip clubs. And that's not for her. That's not her journey. And he told her that the last time he had actually went to a strip club was about a year ago. That may or may not be the truth. And he likes to have 1 or 2 beers every morning after work, which is like, I get it's kind of like his night, but it's morning. And every day, that's a choice. Then here comes Patrick. And he says that he has not seen Casey since being since coming back to Denver. Mind you, y'all, Casey's not here. Casey is not here. This bitch is hiding. Anyways, she made some excuse that she wasn't ready to talk to him. And he asked for the ring back, and she downright said no. Bitch, I'm sorry. Does the ring belong to Netflix? You can't say no. You gotta give that thing back. Anyways, you act like you're the only one hurting, she apparently said, and I'm keeping the ring. Then we see Kate. This is gonna be interesting. Nick looks like he is having some buyer's remorse. He's like, oh. Madison brings him over to the guy, or brings her, sorry, over to the guys. And it's like, hey, Joe, meet Kate. Have you met Nick? Unfortunately. Then we see Anna. Anna's here. And fucking Mike is here. And Mike comes over to hug him again. And I'm like, get your hands off of her. Then here comes Brendan. Now, y'all, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get mad. I'll tell you why I'm going to get mad. Because Annie is still on her shit. Because she says he would tell me I was a number one priority. I'm just saying that energy here tonight. Then why the fuck do you think he's going to come here and be like, hey, Annie, you're still my number one priority, girl. I love you. No, he's not going to do that for you anymore because you chose the other guy. He's not going to treat you as if he's your priority because you're not fucking priority anymore. He's not your priority, so you're not his. This entitlement that she has is unreal. Jordan tells Brendan, I don't think it would have worked for you, Brendan. Her and Nick are so quirky. Let it go, my dude. Sure. Then Mike comes over and asks to talk to Megan. And he asks, do you want to dance? No, I don't want to dance. I don't want to dance. I'm engaged, you stupid. She says no. And he apologizes for making her cry that one night and walking out early. No, you're not. She says, it makes me think, how will you handle conflict in the real world? Here's the difference, though. He would have won. He didn't win. So that's the difference. Even if he won, he's still going to be shit. He asks, did you get your emerald cut? Because I know you wanted an emerald cut. Oh, he didn't give you an emerald cut? See why it would have been better for you? Because I would have gotten you one. Get the fuck off of my screen. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I'm happy that I never have to see him again after this because, spoiler alert, he's not at the reunion. So I was so tempted to slide into your DMs, but I didn't because I didn't win. But he says I can't be cocky. I can be cocky. Sure. At least he knows. She says, see, that's the problem. I'm used to dating cocky guys and overly confident guys. Well, we could say cocky. Not to say Jordan is not confident, but I will say we could have made it work. And he asks, you think you made a mistake? Get the... No, she says no. Patrick then sees Anna and says, she's my favorite. She was my number one until she left me. We'll get to it. We'll get to it when Anna gets to it. And then they sit and they talk, and she admits that I needed to give it a chance. Yeah, why did you leave? You should have stayed. But then you got engaged, so you would have been okay anyways. Let's just dig a little deeper into this. We're not there yet. He says, but I would have chosen you. And she says, yeah, but you asked someone else to marry them. If I was your number one, then you wouldn't have done that. Exactly. This is the thing. I don't think he would have ever picked Casey if Anna was there. But because he was so desperate to be married, kind of like Annie, he went to the next best thing, which was Casey. And look how that turned out. I didn't like the fact that Blake left without saying goodbye to the people he was talking to, or the person that was left that he was talking to. I didn't like that he didn't do that. But however, he left knowing that, well, if Anna's not here, and I guess Anna may have been my number one, I'm going to leave. Patrick didn't do that. So you shot yourself in the foot. I do have to agree with her. And he says, I was dead set on you, but you're not understanding. If you were dead set on her, I would have done everything in my power to make sure I got to her. I'm leaving this fucking show. Producers, give me her number. I want to know. I want to know where she is. Get me to her. We've seen it before. So he did the wrong thing. Um, he says you knew me better than anyone else, but I also think you would have said no at the altar. And maybe she would have said no at the altar, but maybe she wouldn't have. She didn't give it enough chance, but with this leaving, and you also did the wrong thing by picking somebody else who didn't even really pick you. We all learned from this. Then Anna says, Nick is perfect. And Edmund says, it would be nice to hear that. I never hear that. Yikes. And KB just goes in on him. And at the time, I was annoyed. But as time goes on and we see how this plays out a little bit more, I totally get her. I would lose my freaking shit on him too. Because what is the point of saying this? Why did you feel the need to do this? It's passive aggressive. Why would you do this? But she's like, don't compare us. I don't say enough positive things to you. I said, I appreciated you last night. And she says, what did I do to you for you to come at me like this? And he says, well, you come at me with this energy. Okay, but again, if you're coming at me or you're not giving me what I need, or you're doing this, that, or the other, don't be surprised by then my reaction. I'm reacting to your actions. So don't be out here being like and giving this energy because you are causing me to give you this energy. You want peace? Give me peace. You give me peace, I give you peace. It's real simple. You give, I give. You want happiness? You want to feel good? You want to what? You give, I give. It's not give or take. It's I give and I give. But if you are going to give me your bullshit, I want to give it back. That's all this is. So she then walks away because she has had enough of this shit. And he goes over to her and says, I love you. And she says, I don't want to hear it. Because the last thing I want to be hearing is how much you love me. Your love doesn't mean shit to me right now. I'm over this right now. I'm sick of your shit. When I'm not sick, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired. I've said this before, and I said which movie. Y'all know if you listen to this podcast. Anyways, just answer my question, she asks. And he says, you may want to walk away, but like, he does walk away, even though like, he said, you may want to walk away. No. What she wants right now is is the question. He deflects because he can't handle. It's not good. And he walks away, and in an extreme response, he says, I'm gonna die, I think. I think I'm gonna die because I just walked away. I think I'm gonna die. No, you're gonna be yelled at, sure, but you're not gonna die. And again, it paints KB in this light that she's um as she says in the reunion, the angry black woman, the unreasonable black woman. The reason why, and I'm only saying this from what I've heard, so don't come at me, but I can say this as a black woman. When you hear black men say, oh, the reason why I don't date black women is because y'all crazy and y'all gangsta, this, that, or the other, it paints that and puts black women in a light. And fuck that. No. You can't make it about us and what we're doing. Make it about the fact that you can't handle us. Make it about that. Make it about the fact that you can't hold yourself accountable. Make it about that. Don't make it about what we're doing, because we're not doing anything. Nick and Kate are now talking, and he apologizes for saying that he left her without context. No, you had context. But she says, you said it. And then you rescinded the offer. And not taking into account my feelings. And she says, "You told me you had another connection, but that you couldn't get there. And then you clearly got there because you proposed to her." And he says, "You know, I just looked into the mirror and I hated myself for lying to you, y'all." He says this again in the reunion. It's the only thing you can say. When he said in the reunion, I'm like, I've heard this before. I've heard him say this before. Come with a new line. I'm like, guy, like, seriously. He says, and he knows everything. Does she? Does she though? And Kate is like, oh, she knows, huh? You said you told her that you said you left me? Of course, yeah, yeah. No, he didn't. Annie, meanwhile, is aware that this is happening, and um, and she's like, "Do you see them talking? You see that?" Then we start talking Nick on only ever doing missionary, apparently. So he's boring in bed. Great to know. But Brendan will flip it and reverse it because that's how you do things. Just like Missy Elliott said. It's never down yet. Come on. Madison says to Kate, there are multiple people who don't like Nick. Same. Same. And Kate says, oh no, he's calculated. 100% he's calculated. Then we hear Joe talking about shots, 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 shots. Everybody. So here we go again. And he's about to get abducted because that's how things work. And if you don't know the term abducted, go back to Jersey Shore. Anyways, I mean, these couples are just about falling apart. KB comes back in and tells Edmund, don't talk to me. And he looks so sad and actually broke my heart in the moment. But at the same time, I'm like, you need a touch of the real world. And going back and listening to the podcast Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey with Ellen Marsh and Daisy Egan, they bring up the fact that, you know, when they were talking about the whole situation with Edmund and being like, you know, I'm too fucking nice, like that. And it's like, sir, it's not about the fact that you're nice. There's nothing wrong with being nice. You know, my man is nice, but he's also an adult. He's sweet, he's kind, he's all of those things, but he's also an adult who can take what I say and hold himself accountable. Edmund, unfortunately, he's not there yet. And I think when he gets there, this is all going to fall right in place for him. You can be who you are. I love the fact that he's quirky. I love the fact that he's unapologetically him and he has this childlike way about him. All of that is so good and it's amazing. He's a good person, but he is a good person and he needs a lot of work. And yeah, I hope he'll get there. He'll get there. And I just hope he holds on to who he is as a person because who he is to his core is a good man, but he has a lot of growing up to do. Something that I don't think KB is wanting to take on, and I don't blame her. Anyways, that is it, y'all. That is it for this episode, I think. Which episode am I doing? I don't even know anymore. I've been recording for how long now that I don't even know what I'm doing. No, I think this is a new episode. Yeah, this is a new episode. I think. This will be fixed in post. If this is a new episode, we're going to take a break here and we'll come back with the next episode. If this is not a new episode, this is the end of the episode. Either way, this is going to be cleaned up. It's going to be fine or not. Who knows? But whichever way this goes, you'll find out. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review, the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.